Welcome to today's mini Zentangle session. Today is week 6, day 2, and the materials we need are a black fine liner pen or a black biro, black pencil, a black tortillon or blending stump, but if you don't have one, an earbud, and a square piece of white card. This one measures 5 centimeters squared or 2 inches. But you can draw on whatever size you feel comfortable. If you would like to pause the video, go and get your materials and sit comfortably, then we can begin. So starting with my pencil, I'm just going to draw a square-ish border around the outside. I'm then going to subdivide it from bottom left hand corner to the top right hand corner, and then I'm going to subdivide that again. I'm going to turn it upside down and I repeat that. So I've now got 1, 2, 3, 4 sections going on the diagonal. I'm then going to turn it around so I don't have any lines going from the bottom left to the top right. And I'm just going to repeat that. Now I've drawn this in pencil, but normally when I would start this tangle I would just go straight in and I would draw in pen. If you feel comfortable starting straight off in pen, please feel free to do so. So that's what we will start off with. So the way that I look at this tangle is you can clearly see there's a 4-box square there where you've got 4 full squares, and then around the outside you've got half a box which they look like triangles. So I'm going to start off in the top center full square, and I'm very simply just drawing a straight line from the bottom corner to the top corner, and then I'm going to repeat that, and you'll notice that I'm drawing the lines about an equal distance apart until I get to the right hand corner. I'm then going to turn it upside down and I'm going to repeat going towards the right. So we've got that entire square full. Now the easiest way to remember this, the way to draw this tangle, is that this point here meets this square at the bottom. And I know you're probably going to think, well, it also sides with those two, which is correct, but the point doesn't. So this point does, which means that I want it to be exactly the same as that one above it. So all I'm doing is filling that box in exactly the same fashion. So now we've got 2 boxes left. I'm going to turn it up that way so that the original lines we've drawn are now horizontal, and I'm going to repeat it. So the lines that I'm doing in this box, they're still going vertical, but because I've turned the tile around, they're actually going in the opposite direction to the ones that we have already drawn. And then I'm going to repeat it because this point of this box meets the point of this box. I'm going to repeat it. And I'm sure when you do it, you'll take more care that your lines are a little bit more straight and of equal distance apart, not like the way that I've just drawn those there. So if we turn it back to the beginning, you'll see that we've got these 2 going that way and these 2 going that way. And you're probably thinking, well, that's not particularly difficult. Now what do we do with these ones here? Well, because these 2 points met for those 2, and because those 2 points met for those, we've now got to work out which ones which way to have these ones here. So if this point here was to meet another one above it, that would mean that the ones either side of it would go the opposite direction. So I'm just going to fill those two in. So we have something that looks like that now. We can turn around and we now know that these two are going to be exactly the same as those two. So we repeat it the other end. And we fill those boxes, which means that if these two are vertical, it means that the remaining four need to go in the opposite direction. So I'm just going to fill those 4 triangles in. And again, when you do it, please take more care and attention, slowing down, focusing on your breathing, and just enjoy just making simple patterns with lines. So we have something that looks a little bit like that. Now you're probably thinking, well, that's nothing really special. There are a couple of things that I'm going to show you to add to this now that will make all the difference. And it's the shading. Now the easiest way to explain the shading here is to pick a side, so left or right. And I'm going to the right, so I've picked all of those lines that are going on the diagonal that way, and I've gone right. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to pick all of those lines again, and I'm going to go to the right. And then it's just a question of using your blending tool, your blending stump, your tortillon, your earbud, your little finger, whatever you have to hand, just to use to shade, to smudge that pencil out. There we go. And that makes it look completely different. Now here's my Blue Peter moment, one that I prepared earlier. And they are identical with the exception of one part, and that's that little sparkle. So I'm just going to show you how to draw another one, and I'm going to show you so that you can add the sparkle to your bit. But this time I'm going to show you where we have more vertical lines. So instead of dividing it into one, I'm dividing it into 2. And again, you'll notice I'm doing it in pencil. Normally I would go straight in pen. And this is where you really will see this pattern come to life. So those of you that want to go straight in pen, please do so. And you'll note that I'm not using any type of measuring equipment or any rulers. I'm just going straight in there. And also I'm not rubbing any pencil out either. So we can start this, and imagine this was the large one that we just drew. We're going to stick with those 4 there. And from this bottom point to here, I'm going to draw a straight line, but I'm going to leave a gap in the center. I'm then going to go to the right, and I'm going to leave a gap. And I'm going to go to the left, and I'm going to leave a gap. And then everything else I draw after that is going to be a full line. Now that's how to draw them if you want to draw them straight. If you want to draw them with a slight curve, you'll get a different effect. So I'm just opening up that curve. And again, this will make it look different. Now for the ones that are the half a square, which is just the triangle, we are just going to do half a line. And when you draw it with the curve in, It really, when you add the shading, it really does make a difference. So the box either side is going to touch that point. So we're going to stick with those ones going in the same direction. So the way that I would draw this tangle is I would draw all of the ones going in this direction first and then turn my tile and do it the other way around. And obviously I would take a little bit more time and I would really slow down and concentrate on this part. But for the example, I'm going to go a little bit quicker because otherwise I won't get in everything that I want to show you. Oops, missed that bit. And that curve that I'm adding is only very slight. You can make it as curved as you want. So now we've got this row going vertical, and then this row, and then this row. And now it's very obvious which ones we have to make in the opposite direction. And this tangle can work when the original grid is on the diagonal, or if the lines for the original grid are straight. And I'll show you some examples at the end. I have to say that I don't think I draw this particular tangle now without this little sparkle in the middle. I think I don't recall drawing it without the sparkle, but I'll put the two next to each other side by side when I finish this part, and I will show you the difference so that you can make the decision for yourself. Ooh, going a little bit quick now. Nearly finished. And again, with the sparkle, it's entirely up to you. You don't have to put 3 lines in. It's just that's the figure that I prefer because of the way that it ends up looking. Right, the last triangle, and then we're done. So let's add the shading, and then I'll compare the two side by side. So turning to the side, I'm going to add the pencil line to the right. Oh, and I've put perhaps a little bit too much pencil on, but not to worry, we'll smudge that out. Turning around and adding it to the right as well. And this is where you'll start to see all sorts of different patterns that you can make with shading. So when we drew the original one, which was much larger, we highlighted all of the rows. What I could have done is use the shading to highlight the group of 4 squares that we had to start off with. So there's the one that I've drawn but larger, and there's the one there. So this is the one that we drew first without any sparkles in, and this is the same. This is the one with sparkles, which is one of the ones that I've drawn here, and as you can see, I've spent a lot more time. But look how these two look different because of the way that I've shaded them. In the top one, you'll note, I think, that these ones actually stand out more. Whether that's just me seeing it or not, I don't know. Here's an example of one that I've done where in that gap that we had the sparkle, I've just drawn a solid black circle. And this is what I mean by highlighting those 4 in the centre. So I've actually shaded on the inside of each of those boxes. So it's highlighting, I believe, those. And then the final example is one where the lines are done straight. And I quite like this. It reminds me of one of the square tangles we did very early on. But you'll notice that it's got the sparkle and the shading. But here's just a few to give you some examples to get you started. I hope you've enjoyed today's session, and please join me for the rest of the week for some more tangling. Bye for now.